By and large, and certainly within recent memory, summer seasons typically are one of the smaller ones with regards to the amount of anime coming out, the amount of relevant anime coming out, the amount of sequels coming out. This upcoming summer of 2025, completely goes against all of those preconceived notions, because not only is there a lot of anime coming out in general, but there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of very notable sequels. Just looking at the season, there are 11 new sequels that I will have to watch when the season starts. And when you add in the new shows that sound interesting that I'm inclined to try and start watching, and shows that are continuing from spring, it's going to be a lot of shows to try and keep up with. And on the one hand, it's kind of concerning because it's a lot to watch in a week. On the other hand, it is also very exciting because there's going to be so many shows to watch at the same time. So at the very least, you should not be bored with the amount of things coming out in this upcoming season. Now, many of these 11 sequels I don't have that much to say about, at least nothing particularly noteworthy. That's actually why I have tried to not talk about sequels as much when I've been doing these seasonal discussions as of late. But there are a few I will point out at the very least. We are getting more Dr. Stone, the second of 3 cores for its final season, and I do expect it to be one of the best things coming out simply because Dr. Stone is great. I want to say it's one of the best new shows to come out recently, but it actually hasn't been that recent because the first season of Dr. Stone is 6 years old at this point, which is very strange to think about. But I guess we've all to some extent been living in 2019, so maybe it's not that weird. Regardless, I am looking forward to more of this. I really enjoyed the first core of this final season, and of course the final core will be coming out in winter of 2026. So yeah, Dr. Stone is great. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. Why haven't you? We've also got Grand Blue returning for a second season after 7 years, and I am very, very excited for this because this is an incredibly funny show. I cannot believe it took 7 years for this to get a sequel, especially because the manga is very well regarded. Like, if you look at manga ranking sites, the Grand Blue manga will typically be in like the top 10 or 15 or somewhere around there. So it's very, very strange to me how this did not get a sequel in like 2019 or 20 or 21. Like, why did it take us until 2025 to get a second season? Not that I'm complaining that we're getting it. I'm very happy we are. So I don't really know why it's taken so long for it to happen, but I'm happy it's happening. I'm happy that the same band that did the first opening, which was amazing. I love the first opening of Grand Blue. I'm happy they're coming back for the new opening. I'm very happy it's also coming back specifically in the summer season, so it matches up with inherently summery visuals with the diving and the ocean, matches up with general summer vibes. So it's very fitting. Very happy this is back. And I expect it again to be one of the best things coming out in this season, assuming it is even close to the quality of season 1. There's also kind of a strange one with the new Panty and stocking, which is a very long time in the making. But that one's notable simply because it's been, like 15 years since the first season of Panty and stocking, which again goes to show you can do new seasons after a very long period of time and you don't have to remake it. As far as newer shows coming out in this season, there are 4 that have caught my eye in particular. To start off, we have City the Animation, which is effectively the spiritual successor to Nichijou. The art style is the same, the character designs are the same. Basically, if you want more Nichijou, this is more Nichijou. It's still Kyoto Animation, which again, notable in of itself whenever they do something new. And based on the PV, it really does look like just Nichijou again in a slightly different coat of paint. So if you were a fan of Nichijou, I shouldn't have to say anything else to convince you to check this one out. The only thing that's kind of concerning is going to be its availability. It does seem like it's going to be Amazon Prime specific, and this is the second notable show that they've gotten recently because they also got G-Quux in spring and a few other spring shows, so I guess Amazon's going to try and get more stuff again after a decent period of time of them just not grabbing too much anime. It seems they're starting up again. Just something to keep in mind as far as its availability. Next, we have The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, which isn't something that initially caught my eye, but after seeing the PV and seeing the general positive reception the source material has, it is something that I've put on my keep my eye on this list. It does seem like it's going to be a fairly cute, very well animated romance. The idea of having these two characters be from different walks of life, one from this more well-off rich school, the other one from a school that generally has a negative reputation and is full of delinquents, and they meet each other, realize that they're from these two different schools that kind of hate each other, and The thing that's a little bit, I guess, heavy-handed is that the two schools are literally right next to each other, which is in of itself kind of silly, but also the more well-off school that the girl attends, they literally like close the blinds on all their windows so nobody at the school with the delinquents that they don't like can see them, which again, like that's the sort of thing that's a little bit eye-rolly on the surface, but we'll see how it plays out in the show itself, and maybe it won't be too bad, or maybe it'll be something you just kind of have to go with. Either way, I don't think those are like big problems, but I could see them being a little bit awkward. Either way, the two characters do seem really cute together, and I'm interested to see how their romance will develop. Notably, there is some weirdness in terms of the release. This is a Netflix series, and it seems like in some areas it will release weekly on Netflix. In some areas it'll be off by a few weeks, and in some areas we don't know how it's going to release. Like as far as I can tell, we don't know how this is going to release in North America, so that will be interesting to find out if it will be weekly or if it'll be something Netflix releases in batches. I'm not sure why it seems to be different from region to region, but I guess this isn't the first time that's happened with Netflix, so we'll see, but that could be a little bit frustrating for people to not be able to watch it weekly when other people in other parts of the world can. Another notable Netflix series is The Summer Hikaru Died, which very, very well animated based on the PV, and has, I think, a pretty interesting premise revolving around supernatural happenstance and mysteries and yokai and spirits and stuff like that. So if you like that sort of thing, this should be a good show for you. The initial idea here is that Hikaru, who is friends with the main character, at some point starts to act differently, acts strange. The way that Hikaru is acting is so strange, so out of the ordinary, that his friend just straight up asks him, "You're not my friend, are you? You're not Hikaru." And then we find out Hikaru has either been possessed or replaced wholesale by a spirit. And one of the ongoing mysteries of this show seems to be trying to figure out what happened to Hikaru. Is he dead? Is he being controlled? Is he somewhere else? While also exploring this new dynamic between the main character and this thing that is taking the place of Hikaru. And along the way, it seems like there will be more supernatural stuff going on, more mysteries to explore and unravel. And it does look genuinely really interesting. So I'm looking forward to this one. This will be releasing on Netflix starting July 5th, I believe. So hopefully that will help it gain a decent amount of popularity since it will be relatively easily accessible for people. Then the final new show that has caught my eye is Solo Camping for Two. And the reason for that is because it, based on the PV, based on the premise, looks like it should be an iyashikei. And I know I've been talking about iyashikei a lot in these seasonal discussions, and that's because we keep getting them. This has been a fantastic year if you're a fan of iyashikei, because we had Sora Utility in winter, this current season in spring, we have Mono and That's Journey, and now we're getting another one with Solo Camping. So I think I said it in the spring discussion video, but I'll say it again. If you are a fan of iyashikei, you are eating very good this year. And unless the PV is being misleading, I don't really have too many doubts that it will give us those really nice nature visuals and that laid back vibe that any fan of iyashikei, these atmospheric pure slice of life anime, will know and love. Because it has that camping aspect, I would expect it to also appeal to people who really like laid back camp, which of course is an iyashikei in of itself. But if you aren't as big a fan of iyashikei specifically, but you like laid back camp, maybe because of the camping aspect, I would think that this would appeal to you as well. It also should, I imagine, have some aspect of teaching people about camping, because one of the campers here is experienced and one is more of a novice. So similar to how laid back camp does that too, where Rin is this very experienced camper and the other people in her friend group are not, and she ends up sort of teaching them a lot of stuff regarding camping. I imagine we'll get a little bit of that too, if that is appealing to people, learning more about this hobby. So I'm looking forward to this one quite a bit, because I expect it will continue to scratch the iyashikei itch that, granted, has been scratched very well this year, but I am not complaining to have it scratched a little bit more. So those are the shows that have caught my eye and are interesting to me from the upcoming summer 2025 anime season. Yes, there are a lot more sequels I could have talked about, but I wouldn't really be adding much other than, yeah, I saw this show, I liked it, and we're getting more. But it will be a lot to watch, because if I watch all of these shows, the 11 sequels, the 4 new shows I just talked about, and I continue to watch shows like Summer Pockets that are continuing from spring, I mean, we're looking at like 16 shows in one season, and for me, that's a good amount. I know for a lot of people, they watch everything, or they watch like 20 plus shows in a season, and that'll be nothing to them. But for me, it's a lot. So on the one hand, it's exciting because a lot of these shows are genuinely really exciting and interesting, and I'm happy to finally get more of them if they're sequels, and I'm happy to see what they're all about if they're new. But on the other hand, wow, it's going to be a lot. Yes, it could be overwhelming. Hopefully it'll work out, and the schedule and where all these shows land will not be too difficult to follow. So What are your thoughts on this season? Let me know in the comments down below. What shows are you looking forward to? And ultimately, are you excited for this season, or are you a little bit apprehensive because of the sheer amount of stuff coming out all at once? Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And until next time, take care, everyone. Look forward to the next video.